Elevate your hatching egg shipping business with Beyond the Egg. Discover the art of premium packaging, master the details of shipping, and create an unforgettable experience for your customers. Enhance your reputation, build lasting trust, and set your business apart as the gold standard. Visit BeyondTheEgg.com to begin your journey to excellence.
Welcome, poultry nerds. We are here with Whitney, who's going to tell us all about this chicken that I can't pronounce.
Indio Gigante.
Bless you.
Say it again.
Indio Gigante.
Indio Gigante. Yeah, that tall chicken with the fat legs.
Well, no, I wouldn't say the legs are very fat.
Oh, it's not that. There's one that's got really fat legs.
Are you thinking about the Dawn?
Maybe.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Those big, really short, muscular ones with a really thick leg.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. No, but the Indio Gigantes are tall.
So you have beanpole chickens.
Yeah, you could say so. Tall, muscular.
How tall are they?
Okay, so they actually come from Brazil, and they were created by the Brazilian government as an affordable protein meat source for the people. And not too long ago, actually, just in the 1980s. So they're pretty new. But they created them by adding in a bunch of different Malloy type birds and crossing them to a higher like egg and meat production bird kind of. Rumor is Plymouth Rock and Rhode Island Red, but again, there's not too much clarity on that on the internet. It's hard to get a straight answer on that one.
That's because you got some of them government chickens.
Yeah, it's government chickens, right? Hush,
Right,
hush.
let's back up for just a minute. So tell everybody who you are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Do we want to start this over again? Do you
like
the name?
People like our
I mean, I feel like they should recognize her voice.
Me?
Yeah.
You.
Oh,
Yeah, your reels are famous.
They really are.
But
seriously.
this way everybody knows it's not AI and we really just are people having a conversation. That's my newest pet peeve.
Where do you want to start from?
So we're here with Whitney. Whitney, introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Whitney from Bissonnette Acres. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to chit chat.
And you're in Arkansas?
Yep, I'm in Central Arkansas.
Okay. And how long have you been raising this bird and what else do you have?
Okay, well, I've been raising Indios for about 2 years now. So they're very, very new to me still. I'm still learning as much as I can. My main breed that I work with is Ayam Cemani. I've been working with them for close to 7 years. Then we have mottled Brahma and American White Breast, and we have some Silkies that are just pet. I cannot get their breeding program off the ground to save my life, so that's okay.
Yeah, it makes me so proud to hear another person say Ayam Cemani correctly.
Oh, there's a lot of debate about that one. I've gotten a lot of flack on both sides. I mean, Cemani is technically the way that you would pronounce it in Indonesia. That's how they would pronounce the C as a CH. But, I mean, if you really want to get into it, there's not necessarily a right or wrong way to say it. Cemani would be more so how we would read it and pronounce it. It's just whatever you're most comfortable with. I do flip-flop sometimes, but I've worked really hard to stick with Cemani. So
I'm going to say this. If it's your bird, you should be able to call it what you want to.
Yeah, or just call it AC. Worst case scenario, just say AC. You're good.
Like, some people get really hot and bothered about that.
No, I agree with that. I'm nervous talking about it. It's a touchy subject.
Well, they can't talk back to us in a podcast form, so we can say whatever we want to at this point.
Yeah, but they can comment.
I know, right? They'll email us later. Okay, so the Indio. Okay, so I've seen you measure them with your daughter, right?
Uh-huh.
You kind of lay them out and spread them out on the measuring tape.
Yeah, so they're known as the world's tallest chicken, which is true. They are, but it's kind of, I don't know if it was like lost in translation or if it just ended up being like a way to hype them up. You know what I mean by saying tallest? Because technically they're measured based off their length, not necessarily their height. So when this breed was discovered to be so tall or so long, the Brazilians ended up measuring them from the very tip of their beak to the end of their middle toe. So they lay them out flat on the ground and they stretch them out as long as they can. And that's how they go based off of their measurements, as opposed to just standing flat-footed. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Because
it does, and I'm visualizing going out there and taking my big Orpington and telling
Oh,
him
it's
to
hard.
lay down. Let me measure him apart.
All right, Jennifer. So picture this. She has Nigerian dwarfs. Okay.
Okay.
So her chickens are bigger than her goats.
They are.
How's
Oh my
that?
gosh. Wow.
I don't
Like-
think JC would lay down willingly.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, sometimes they just kind of give up. It's such a new experience that they're like, okay.
So the one I saw you measuring, wasn't he like 38-ish inches, if memory serves?
I've measured quite a few. Our largest stag right now, which they also refer to the males as stags, he is just at 42 inches right now. His name's Enoch, and we absolutely love him. He's fantastic. He is 14 months old right now. And so far, working with them, he's been the biggest one that we have produced. So I'm very happy with him. And we have a son coming up out of him that he's only, I believe, 8 months right now, and he's almost to 40 inches. So I'm really excited because he could easily surpass his father if he continues to grow in the right direction. Yeah.
So how big do the hens get?
So, I mean, that's a tough one. Well, not necessarily. Height in general is a tough one because it's kind of been kind of controversial right now. There's been like a huge influx of new people getting excited about this breed. I've watched it come in waves because before I got this breed, I sat on the idea of it for like 2 years because I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, I want this. I'm a tall person. I'm almost 6 foot. My husband's tall. We're tall people. And I was like, yes, I want a giant chicken. See, like an average chicken. And so I sat on it and I told my husband about it. And he's like, no, this is not happening. And one day I just decided to just order some. Finally, 2 years later. But so there's been these different waves and hits where they've kind of come into the limelight or the spotlight. And they've come again recently. And the thing has been, everyone's calling them 4-foot chickens. And they don't actually reach 4 feet that often, which is it kind of, in a way, it's good because it's bringing recognition to the breed, but also not so much because then it sounds like a scam when someone actually does the research and find out. So if you're going based off of the Brazilian SOP, because they do have one, their hens are about 33 to 34 inches on average, which is really not that much. And then their males cap out at about 40 inches.
I mean, that's a 3 foot tall chicken.
But it's not 4 feet. Okay? Think about it.
I'll give you that. But still, you know, for somebody that's kind of inner city or don't have a lot of land and can't really have like a Great Pyrenees or something to protect their little fuzzy chickens.
That's true.
I mean, they could get that. Or people like Jennifer, whose husband say, no, you're not getting an emu.
One of my reasons. That's
a chicken. That's a chicken, not an emu. So
yeah, the technicality is there. Not a rat type.
Y'all two are tall, and I'm like just 2 inches over 5 feet. So you're talking about like shoulder high chickens here.
Jennifer, just think of this. While you're sitting, you won't even have to get out of your gator to feed them.
Oh my gosh. That's
like you can just be sitting in your gator and hold some food out in your hand and boom, they're perfect.
Perfect height too. And that's great for practicing good posture and form. Yep. I think you should do it.
Oh my goodness. So What do you really do with these birds, though? Are you eating them?
Oh, I'm just loving them. Eating them? No, why would I do that? That's terrible. No.
Was their purpose, right? It was for me.
So they were created by the Brazilian government in the early 80s at some point, which that's, like I mentioned before, it's just so hard to get clear information on foreign breeds sometimes. I mean, through all the translations, wading through articles, sometimes information seems to be conflicting, but 80s or 90s. And they were created by crossing Malloy type breeds like Shamo, Malay, Azil to a heavier, fuller bird. And so their goal for that was to provide the people of Brazil with affordable food, because at that point their people were not being, they didn't have access to good protein. They were starving essentially. So they wanted to try to rectify that crisis at the time. And
Yeah,
so
Brazil's always really struggled with that.
They are. And they did help. They really did. And they were able to give more meat source and also a higher egg production, because they can be, and again, even their SOP is kind of off when you look at the egg production that they state for them. It's between 160 eggs and 250 a year. That's so wide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're such a newer created breed that it's still like they haven't streamlined that exactly. But anyway, so they got them to the public. They were able to feed the public. And these birds reproduced so much, and people were breeding them because the hens are broody and they're strong birds. And then they realized how tall they were and how long they were. And they flipped the script from being a meat and food bird to a competitively bred bird for height. So, I mean, you'll find over there are some people who still eat them, the culls, right? But those stags and those females who are really big, they actually go more towards competitive breeding. I mean, it's huge over there for breeding these guys and trying to get them bigger and bigger. Over here, you could eat them, but honestly, I'd get more off my breasts. It'd be more worth my time to process my breasts than eat some of my IG.
Because their bodies are about like a game fowl, right?
They are. I imagine if I were to process an IG, it would need to be a crock pot bird, like a stew bird. I feel like they're so muscular and so tough. It wouldn't be like extremely delicious.
I mean,
if that makes sense.
They have their purpose.
I mean, they have their purpose. They're great for predator protection. They've been really good at running off hawks. They're giant. They're huge. So you don't get a lot of aerial predators that want to come into your property when you have a flock of miniature dinosaurs in your backyard. But
are they fully feathered, like from their head all the way down to their hocks? Or is their neck bare?
So actually, that's interesting. I've gotten a lot of comments on some of my videos about I have birds that have Enoch, our largest male. He has some feathers missing in his neck and on his keel bone, and some on his behind. And I get a lot of comments all the time, people saying, your bird's sick. You need to take care of your birds. You need to treat your birds for mites. I'm like, no, trust me, he's good. But reviewing the Brazilian SOP again today, it popped out to me that on their chest, it actually calls for their chest to be devoid of feathers, specifically on the keel bone and sometimes on the neck. This is just a part of the bird because it was bred over with a meat bird, and because they do grow so fast, you notice that the same thing as Cornish, you see that often where they just don't have the feathering there and the skin is really red. It's not raw, it's just, I don't know exactly. How would you explain that? I'm sure you
don't have feathers.
So, all right. So I'm looking at a video right here, and I'm going to try to describe this for our viewers. So picture a T-Rex, a game fowl, and a Cornish cross all together.
Yeah, that's about right.
I will say though, their feathering is a little prettier than a Cornish cross. That might be the T-Rex in them or the game fowl.
There's also a long neck in there. Look how long their necks are.
Look, the neck could be almost a foot of the length on the things.
We'll be right back.
Looking to rock some seriously comfy gear? If you love chickens and you're all about that fun style, then Chicken Box has got the perfect t-shirts for you. From quirky designs to classic looks, their shirts are as comfy as us chicken tenders deserve. They even have a subscription service so your coop doesn't get bored. Head over to PoultryNerdsPodcast.com and click on Chicken Box to get your comfy shirts and support the podcast.
Yes, and that's a goal as well. That's a goal as well, a focus with the breed, is to have those long, slender necks. And a lot of people in Brazil prefer that because the longer the neck, the more inches, the more length that you get on the bird. But
the sparse feathering would make sense if they're being bred for meat originally.
Yeah,
it's easier to pluck.
And that is why you will find that their dietary needs are very important, because they have the ability to pack on the pounds so fast like a meat bird. You have to keep them on lower protein, and you have to let them exercise as much as possible, because if they start to eat a higher protein and they do not get nearly as much exercise, I tell people all the time, if you want this breed, they cannot just live in a run. They cannot just live in a coop. Like, you need to give them ample area to roam and to move, because as soon as they start packing on that pound, they can face a really serious leg problem in Brazil known as perna bamba. And what this is, I don't even know exactly what this is. I'm not sure anyone really knows exactly what this is, but essentially it's that their legs just give out. It's like a lame horse. One day they just can't give up. It's not Merrick's. It's not a disease. It's really because the bird has been bred on two different aspects. Like, you're breeding these birds for these long, limber, lean legs and neck, but then their body still has that capability of being so heavy, and the two kind of collide and crash. And then so a lot of breeders recommend using calcium, treating them with more calcium once they hit the ground, lower the protein, exercise, give them calcium to strengthen that bone health. And this does help to an extent, but me personally, I worked really hard last generation not to treat a lot of birds with added calcium. And that may sound cruel, but I wanted birds who were going to be strong. I wanted birds who weren't going to rely on additional supplements, because when shit hits the fan and I do need to eat my IG, I'm going to not calcium. No.
Hey, look, breeding for hybrid vigor is not something you're going to get an objection to from either one of us.
Hey, listen, it was brutal. It was brutal, especially for the males, because it seems the larger the male you get, the greater your chances are for seeing that issue, which, of course. But another thing I noticed too is like paying attention to legs, knock knees out. You're obviously definitely going to have a problem with perna bamba. Tail set. If your tail set is way too low, you're going to have a problem with that, because it affects the hips, it affects the legs, the joints, everything. And also exercise is such an important key. I think too many people in this breed, I mentioned to some people before, they're asking me what I was doing. And I was like, well, I free range my birds. And they're like, you free range your birds? They cost me $70 a chick. And I was like, oh yeah, me too. But like, they need it. Like, they deserve to live and to be healthy. And letting them have that, access to not only exercise, muscle development, bone health, but also all the nutrients that they can get in the ground from foraging, bugs, everything. That alone, making that switch, you will see such a difference in the healthier birds, in my opinion, especially your IG. So,
well, like for me, it's really hard for me to free range a smaller bird like a Rhode Island Red or a game fowl, because I humanely capture 30 to 40 raccoons every couple of months when the seasons change. But
a larger bird, you probably could.
I think I don't see a raccoon trying to take one of these out.
No.
The thing's going to look down at it and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're going to be my dinner.
Yeah. And so I have another way of utilizing these guys is that they are such a docile breed, what might I add, not only with humans, but with like other chicken breeds, especially if you rear them up with them. I can free range my grow out pin much longer. I free range my grow outs daily until they start showing signs of maturity. And that's when I kind of lock them down and I start to evaluate who I want to keep, who I want to let go, where they're going. But because I have these IG, if I grow them out with my grow outs, they're so much larger than everyone else that they're almost like a built-in babysitter. And I have noticed that the other guys listen to them and watch them, and that the IG end up calling the shot. And it's just very interesting to see how they all work together, how if there's any kind of threat or any kind of sign, you know what I'm saying? It's been very beneficial to have them with the grow out. So I try to always have some IG growing out. And I have one male, Enoch's son, who's coming up. He still hasn't even started to crow. So he still free ranges every day, and all the grow outs stay with him. And he's like, what, like almost 40 inches? I mean, it's worked. It's worked for us.
So what age do they reach maturity?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to vary, because if you're looking at the Brazilian SOP again, I mean, they say 6 months for hen, 7 months for males, but I see differences here. I think our birds in the States are a little bit different than what you'll see in Brazil. Personally, I find that they have a later maturity date. I feel like my hens really don't start laying until 7 or 8 months. A lot like Brahma. I notice my Brahmas take a really long time to mature, and that makes sense to me. You would expect that being a larger bird. Generally, the larger breeds mature at a much slower rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, same goes for height. In Brazil, they have their males 39 to 40 inches, and they have their females 33 to 34. I mean, that's where their standard rests. They say you need to at least get there, right? But in the US, we're starting to see breeders get birds reaching 42 inches and above. There is one breeder, Igor Soares, who's out in Georgia, and he recently saw a stag that reached close to 48 inches. He actually almost made that 4-foot claim, which is phenomenal. But so it's interesting. I think it's still such a new breed with so many different breeds behind it that it needs more time for us to really narrow down its definition, if that makes sense.
Well, it would make sense if Brazil is growing them for another source of protein, then they're not going to have the nutrition to feed the birds that we would here.
Yeah, and that's true. But on the other side, Brazil actually has a formulated feed just for them.
Serious?
Yeah, for the serious breeders. But again, I have not been able to get my hands on what's actually in that formulated feed. I would like
to that guy. I bet he could figure it out.
I want to try. Yeah, he probably could, huh? I've been trying to figure out how to get my hands on at least a list of what's in it to see. I know it's balanced for calcium, lower protein, but that's about it. That's all I know at this point.
Do you know what it's called?
I would have to look it up. I'd have
Girl,
to.
you get me down and I'll see what we can come up with. We might be able to work out a trade.
Ooh, I'd be happy to. But
So,
yeah, I mean,
What kind of wingspan? Can they get themselves up off the ground at all?
Oh, no, barely. Well, no, I lied. The males, maybe not so much, but they do have one female that, no matter how much I block this little, wooden bar that's in the top tippy corner of her run, she still gets to it every night, and she roosts on it, which I'm surprised, because it's about 5 feet. So she gets up there pretty dang good. Males, I have not seen them get up pretty good at all.
He's doing chin-ups.
I mean, they're already 43 feet, 3.5 feet up.
You're right. You're right.
Like, most breeders talk about putting their roost 2 feet up so the birds don't hurt their legs when they pop down. So, I mean, they're already there.
They're already there. But that is true, too. Another thing that is really recommended, because their legs, once a leg goes out or gets injured because these guys are so big, you're just kind of done for.
That's a chicken leg right there.
Yep. Lowered roosting bars are definitely recommended. I do cinder blocks. I do a big 2x4 through them. I stack 2 cinder blocks and I keep it as low as I can. And they really don't, for the most part, try to go that high. Except for, my younger juveniles, they'll push themselves. But it's once they start getting bigger, and start getting like more of that weight on them, I don't think that they can. They're heavy. They are heavy. And that's another thing too. In Brazil, on their standard, again, it's saying like 10 to 12 pounds for males and 6 to 9 pounds for females. That is not what I'm seeing here. I need to weigh my guys. I need to get a scale big enough for my guys, but they're heavy. They've got some weight to them. And I know, again, another breeder said that he had a female that clocked in at like 14 pounds, which I totally believe, because while they may look tall and skinny, that little girth, like their little abdomen and stuff, it is packed. It is just like so muscular, so heavy. It's surprising when you pick them up. So
I just have this envisionment of your farm. So people are always asking for those giant Brahmas, and they see that picture of that Brahma that comes out of that doghouse that everybody plays it all the time.
yeah.
Okay. So
The big white one.
You've got this big giant Brahma. You've got this big IG coming out at you. And then in front of it, you get your little Silky going.
You have the little tiny Silky, right? And you know what? They all hang just fine. I mean,
the Silky has a shadow.
Yeah.
So, it's always in the shade.
Yeah, exactly. It's always shaded. I mean, when I'm on my off season, I free range everyone for the most part together. I can free range the Brahmas and the IG and the Silkies and all of the grow outs. I can free range them all together, and there's no problem. Everyone hangs out. But I also don't keep birds around that are aggressive. That's like my number one thing. Any sign of it, it's gone. Just because my children and just because I like peace.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you eat your coals?
On occasion, but not very often. I do have a homestead here that I actually started working with because of Ayam Cemani, and she is completely off grid. And I ran into her one day at the Dollar General down the street, and we got to talking, and she was completely off grid. And I was telling her I had chickens and I had these coals, and if you want, you can just take them. And so that's been like, 5 years now going on. That she just takes everything, anything that I don't want, anything that doesn't meet the cut, they go there. I know that they're not going to be bred further. And I know that they're going to literally put food on her family's table. And that just has worked out really good for me. Knowing that they'll either be kept for egg production or they'll feed her family at the time that it needs to be done. It's worked out great. But yeah, no, I also get the heebie-jeebies eating my own cold.
Why?
Just edit that one out.
But
Don't tell anyone that.
She tastes like chicken.
No, I don't know why, okay?
All right.
Because I love them still.
I'm just going to say this. Once their head is off, you can't tell them apart.
No, that's true. That's true. Been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, is anybody in the States working on an SLP for these birds?
Yeah, so no one really right now that I know of, but I actually have been in the conversation with a few breeders, Igor Soros and Blue Azul, and he has some really nice Indios as well. And we actually have been talking a lot about trying to start getting a proposed standard out there for them in the States, because we're seeing a lot of diversity right now in these birds. GFF started to release them first. And unfortunately, just with them being so mass produced in the US and sent out everywhere, it just seems like there's a lot of discrepancy in the birds' types, like in height, size, shape. You get some that look way more azile, like they're just full azile, and you get some that are heavy, you get some that have no neck, you get some that are only reaching 36 inches. That's about the majority that you'll see in the United States here. You'll see a lot of people working with other lines that are not getting nearly as tall as they should be. And then also on top of that, wattles. Wattles are not a part of the breed. They should have a dewlap. If they're going to have wattles, they need to only be 1 centimeter at most. They need to have yellow legs. The color is like Serama, though, where it does not matter. That's one thing that I really like about them after working with Cemani for so long. is that there's some diversity in color. It's basically whatever you get, which is, it's fun for me. It's better than just black. But the problem here, which is what we saw with Cemani as well, is that there's just no rules. I don't know how to put this nicely. I'm trying not to step on anyone's toes.
Right.
There's no guideline. It's a free for all. It's like the Wild West. When you get a new bird in, that's a rare exotic bird, people are going to pump them out. They're going to try to make as much money as they can off of them. They are not going to pay any respect to any kind of structure, type, or SOP. And that's something we saw a lot with AC. And now that we're getting closer to having our, proposed standard accepted, going into our final qualifying meet this November, which is amazing, more people are falling in line. More people are trying to breed correctly, are trying to do the breed justice, because they're going to be held accountable when you have an actual SOP in the standard. And even though IG have only been here, I don't know, maybe 5 years, maybe 6, they're already just getting so completely watered down just from like the fad of just like trying to pump out these 4-foot birds that aren't even getting close to 4 foot at this point. So a lot of us have been talking about trying to really go through and clean up the Brazilian SOP, kind of pay homage to it, but also try to clarify certain aspects. Like, for example, in their SOP, they don't even have a tail set angle. And there's a lot of things that are just kind of not very clear, not like we would see in our SOPs here in States. So we do want to try to work on that. But again, it is such a long process. You have to, create your SOP, get that into the APA, get it approved, start working on it, and be able to prove that you have 5 APA breeders breeding to this SOP for 5 years. And then on top of that, you're going to have to go through your additional 2 years of qualifying. I mean, it's not going to be just 5 years. It would be a lot more than that. I mean, the work that is ahead of us. But at that point, like, there's no time like the present time, right? Start now. Sorry.
So if somebody said, you know what, I need some giant, eye-level birds, so what would be, where could they get some? And then what would they look at just as the bare minimum to know that that's what they were getting? Like is leg color at all?
Yeah, so leg color, yellow.
Okay.
You would see yellow in the legs. It's
Do they?
I would recommend not going to a large hatchery, first of all. That would be my first step, is do not go to a very large hatchery, not one that's commercialized. Because when you go to commercialized hatcheries, you tend to see that the actual breeding is sometimes lost. But I would go and I would recommend finding a group on Facebook. For example, there's a group that's called Raising Indio Gigantes in the U.S. That is probably the largest IG group for the U.S. Granted, you're going to have breeders of all backgrounds there, of all, either brand new to the breed, flippers, actual breeders, preservationists, all the things. But go in there, start learning, start watching, start reading through the comments of posts, not just post, read the comments, get to know the people, get to know the breeders, and find yourself someone to build a relationship with. Get to know them before you purchase from them. Because, purchasing chicks, you can't really tell the quality of a bird until they're at least close to maturity. But some definite things you're going to look for is leg color, yellow. You definitely want to make sure you get straight toes. That is a huge issue in this breed as well, that a lot of people will just pass by, is crooked toes. Always make sure the toes are straight. Always make sure you're giving proper vitamins, because that too will cause crooked toes. You're going to want to look for wattles. Avoid wattles. If you're going to have them, they should be 1 cm at most. You're going to want a dewlap. That's preferable. Dewlap is a big piece of skin growing from like the bottom of the beak to the neck. For those who don't know.
Like a turkey?
Like a turkey. Yeah, kind of like a turkey. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example. And a very strong, prominent crown, and almost that Brahma snarl to the face and in the eyes. Do you know what I'm talking about? That angry brow that Brahmas have.
Beetle brown.
Yes, you want that. You want almost that angry look to the bird. Well,
Yeah, we need a big giant chicken coming at it.
That looks
With
angry.
an angry look.
But the funny thing is they're not angry. They're very, very sweet. But I mean, if you're wanting to go buy them, my best recommendation would be to find someone through Facebook or through social media. Avoid a large hatchery if you can, and try to build a rapport and a relationship with someone. If you're serious about this, if you really truly want pure, good Indio Gigantes, go find a breeder, build a relationship. But if you just want something lawn ornament, yard candy, I mean, again, you can go to a breeder as well because they're always going to have their culls.
Yeah.
Their pet qualities. You know?
What color eggs do they lay?
Well, they can lay between white and cream. There have been, I know there's some that are like more tan. And I have read in the Brazilian SOP that red is a color. I'm not exactly sure what that color is, but also blue and green. And we do have a couple of lines here in the United States that were able to bring in that blue and green gene. I have a hen that lays blue eggs, and I am building a freaking army out of her. Had so many babies. And next, I'm going to be working on doing the blue egg gene through, I think I'm going to go through Knight's Poultry Lab testing. And so I'm going to test and try to find out who's carrying it and how to breed back and try to hopefully have an entire colored egg basket through this hen, which not only does she lay beautiful, gorgeous, huge blue eggs, but she's massive. I mean, her offspring are just, oh my gosh, they're tanks. And she's very docile and very sweet. But that is something that a lot of people don't know, is that they actually can lay colored eggs, which is a game changer in my opinion. When I found out, I was like, take all my money. I just need one. I just need one and I'll make it work.
You've kind of like stumped me on that one, that there could be such a variety of egg color there.
And again, I think that's coming from the fact that it is, I mean, I don't want to say it in a rude way, but it's kind of a mutt bird. I mean, it was just created in the 1980s. You're still going to have so many different genetics at play, so many different things. I mean,
yeah, somebody's going to have to work with them, clean them up, get them right.
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying.
we're going to have to line breed them for at least 5 or 6 years to get that to where it's consistent.
Exactly, Carrie. And I think that's what I was trying to explain when I was talking about setting up an SOP, is that like it's going to take like maybe 10 years, like to get this bird to actually be able to like fit a solid SOP, because there's so many different things that you can see. For example, they have like 5 different accepted comb varieties. So we got to narrow it down, right?
Wow.
You know what I'm just saying? So many different things can pop up in them, because really the main true focus, from my understanding, in Brazil for this breed has been length, height, go for it. That's what they've been breeding for. Long neck, long legs, and as long of a bird as you can get. So now, with the opportunity that we have with them here and with the dedicated breeders that we do have that opportunity to really try to start, I don't want to necessarily say molding the breed, because you don't want to offend the country of origin at all, right? Because we appreciate what they did. We appreciate what they created. But I do think like we have this opportunity to try to refine, to try to narrow down, to find those best qualities that will help preserve the breed and keep it going, and to breed more consistently.
Yeah, I can see where on the flip side, if you don't, then there's so much variety there that it will just forever be a backyard mix.
No, I could definitely see that as well. 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is consistency to it, but because there's so many different genetics at play and it's so fairly new, you're still going to see like these random grandfather genes pop up. You're still going to see these things come out. Like the comb. Ugh, the comb's killing me. I'm trying so hard just to have cushion combs. That's all I want.
I mean, if you're talking about the 1980s, we're only talking about 40-ish generations here.
That's not that long. Yeah, that's not that long at all. No. But, it'd be fun to be one of the first ones.
Yeah.
To get it going. And really, they have so much potential. They are such an amazing breed. So docile, so calm, so big, beautiful. They really make you see, okay, yeah, they could be dinosaurs. I see it. I definitely see it now, you know?
Well, are you not selling anything yet, right?
No, I have been selling. Right
Okay.
now, I'm too hot. It's too hot right now. Unless we can get on a private transport. But I am also hoarding. Again, I've got all those babies out of my blue hen. So I am trying to grow them out, find my best selections, and then reevaluate what my next generation is going to look like. And then, of course, hatch those, evaluate those, and then start letting some go. But yeah.
Well, tell everybody where they can find you and all the different places.
Nope. Bissonnette Acres on Facebook is about the best place to find me, or on TikTok. You'll find me under Whitney Rose Bissonnette. And I try to produce as much educational and basic understanding content as I can to help all those who are just getting into some of the breeds that I have, to try to share my journey and my experience, what I've learned going through it all. I don't know it all. I'm still learning. We are all still learning, but I just try to share what I come across to hopefully help others' journeys be a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, we totally appreciate it. And your reels are so fun. So I enjoy working on them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, we have enjoyed having you. We'll talk to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I didn't yak your ear off too much.
Yep, you're good.
Thank you for joining us this week. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can receive new episodes right when they are released. And they're released every week. Feel free to email us at poultrynerds@gmail.com to share your thoughts about the show. Until next time, Poultry Pals, keep clucking, keep learning, and keep it exciting. This is Carey signing off from Poultry Nerds. Feathers up, everyone.